All right, everybody. Welcome to our Monday edition of Tuesday. Appreciate you all being here and the change in schedule. Appreciate Coach Huff for accommodating as well. We'll open with a statement from Coach Huff, and then we'll get to questions.
How's everybody doing? Appreciate everybody being here. Appreciate everyone adjusting their schedules so we can still get the information you need, but also still recognize our 75 memorial ceremony tomorrow, which I hope all of you are able to attend. As I said after the game, really proud of the way the players and coaches and entire organization battled. I told the team after the game we were not out of the storm, but we can see the light, and we got to build on it. And we got to keep grinding towards that light. We got to keep improving. We got to look at what we've done positive in the game, and we got to look at areas where we can still improve. I think there are a lot of positive things to point out. I think there are a lot of lessons that can learn, and I think we can continue to make the positive steps. As I said after the game, I really hope the city and town and community of Huntington was able to smile a little bit brighter this weekend, not only honoring the 75, but what soccer was able to do, women's basketball being able to get her first Division I win. I think there's a lot of positive going on at Marshall. I'm excited to be a part of it. I know from a football program we are not there yet, but we are making tremendous strides. I feel really good about where we are. Not pleased with our result, but definitely pleased with the way these young men come in the building every day. Definitely pleased with the leadership we have. Definitely pleased with the ability to respond and be resilient. Because just like in life, those are the things that ultimately matter. Life is not going to go perfect. Seasons are not going to go perfect. Expectations are just that, expectations. You still got to line up and play the game. You still got to be able to adjust accordingly. So with that, excited about this opportunity to go down to Mobile, Alabama, and play a really good South Alabama football team. I think one thing you learn in this conference that the records really don't mean anything. When you put the film on and you watch these guys play, they do a really good job. Kane Womack has done a really good job there since he's gotten there. A lot of respect for him. I've known him through the business for a long time. Unbelievable defensive mind, and it shows with the way they play. A lot of connections to that staff. Major Applewhite, the offensive coordinator, and I were together at Alabama. Robbie Zell was with us at Alabama as well. Gordon Steele, the O-line coach, was with us at Alabama. A lot of really smart football coaches, and you can see it in their scheme. You can see it in the things that they're trying to do, how they attack offenses and defenses, and you can see it by how their players play. They play with an unbelievable energy and effort. They're physical, they're fast. Kane has done a really good job of building that program to his likings as far as what he believes his team should look like. So really good opportunity for us to go on the road again. Really excited about that. But with that, I open up for questions.
Yeah, as you mentioned, records don't really mean anything. Offensively, we talked last week about numbers for Georgia Southern. What do the numbers say that are true, and what's the film say about them offensively that we're not seeing?
Well, it's interesting because their system is what kind of our system started as when I got here, because it's what we used at Alabama. Obviously, they have tweaked it to fit their personnel, and we've kind of, went slightly another way based on personnel. But what they try to do is they try to run the ball. That's the first thing they try to do, and they've done a really good job at it. Their O-line is really good, probably one of the better O-lines that we'll play this year. They run the ball extremely well, and when you're able to run the ball extremely well, your play-action game usually works pretty good off of it. Their quarterback is doing a really good job. I think Coach Applewhite does a really good job of formation, window dressing, forcing you to, fit gaps the right way, creating gap and fit conflict in the run game with motions and shifts and different personnel groupings. And then, obviously, when you're able to run the ball efficiently like that they've been able to do, the pass game comes off of it. So it's going to challenge our guys a little bit just because of it's not just line up and play your gap. You got to adjust to the motions. You got to adjust to the surfaces. You got to adjust to formation into the boundary. unbalanced, all of those things. And then their running backs run hard, and that's one of the things that I think, kind of goes unwritten. Even the 4 and 5 yard runs that, you kind of bottle up, they're able to get behind their pads and squeak out, more yards. So it's a really good system. It challenges defenses schematically. It challenges your eye discipline. It challenges your ability to fit and refit gaps. So we're going to have to continue to work on that this week and try to do a really good job on Saturday.
Coach, a couple of guys that just really have stepped up here, Jaden and what he brought to the table there Saturday night, and then also DeMarcus Harris. Can you just talk about kind of those two guys and just their progression here, not only this season, but, just certainly Jaden, he's been with you, just a tremendous player there on the special teams.
Yeah, I think, again, and that's why I say I'm proud of the progress we're making. Obviously, the results haven't been consistently what would be expected. Or what we want. But when you look at a guy like Jaden, who's been here a while and starting to have some consistent success, not only in the kickoff return game, but as a receiver, that's the progress that you're looking for. And sometimes they're 18 to 22-year-olds, man. You never know when that light's going to come on. DeMarcus is another guy, is a veteran guy, but hadn't had a ton of reps. So he's played a lot, but experience-wise and being in games and those type of things, he's just starting to get into a groove. I think you saw him make some huge plays Saturday night, and that's kind of what we've been missing. It's 11 on 11, and the quarterback doesn't block, so somebody's going to have to break a tackle, someone's going to have to split an angle, and DeMarcus being able to do that a couple of times Saturday night created some huge momentum for us. We talk about offensively trying to chunk the field. Explosive plays and turnovers are usually the deciding factor of how well your offense played. And DeMarcus was able to give us, some explosive plays Saturday night, which we've been missing. It's not always the designed, throw the ball 80 yards down the field. You can throw some basic routes and you break a tackle or you get vertical, and that turns into big plays. And that's what we've got to be able to do. What that does, it allows you to get to the other plays, when you're able to stay on course, right? Your first down, second down, third down. When you're able to stay on course, you're able to get to the other plays. You're able to use your setup plays. You're able to allow your quarterback to be efficient. Now you get him into manageable situations, right? We prefer the quarterback to be in 3rd and 4 because he can manage that, not 3rd and 15. That's tough. So when those type of guys have those type of plays, it really helps. The kickoff return, probably gave us a lift of energy and momentum early, which I think our guys were able to kind of use throughout the game. When you look at that game, it wasn't like we just led the entire time. We had to battle. We went back and forth. And those momentum plays, kickoff return, two big catches and down the sideline, those type of plays give you a little bit more momentum to keep battling. When you're kind of, hitting your head against the wall, it's kind of like, okay, we need something to break here, and those two plays helped.
Coach, you talk every week about going 1-0. Now you guys are standing here with an opportunity still to play in a bowl game. Is that part of the conversation at all? Or
Well, the conversation started last week, and I told them, time is something we all have, and we've got 3 decisions of what to do with our time. Football and in life, we can waste our time and just be here, be bumps on a log, be working at your job and not be excited about it. We can get through our time, meaning we have a meeting at such and such time, I come, and when the meeting's over, I'm out, and just get through it. Or, hey, the season says we got 10 games, and I'm just going to get through those 10 games and go on about my day. Or we can fight to extend our time. And that's not just talking about a bowl game. That's talking about everything. So if you have a job, you go to work every single day and do your possible complete best so that you can extend the time that you're able to work there, or extend the time that you're able to move up the ladder. Same thing in football. So we can fight to extend this season one game at a time. So last week gave us the ability to have a little momentum, to have a little bit of positive energy going into this game. And I'm trying to get these guys to understand it's not just about making a bowl game or winning a championship. It's about life lessons that ultimately when they leave here and they hang up the jersey and the air is out of the football, that they can look back on their time at Marshall and help them get through tough situations. So we talked about it, and they made the decision that we want to fight to extend our time. Doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you can do everything you can and your boss will walk in and say, hey, we're laying you off. Okay, now you got to fight. we could fight our tails off and they could tell us we don't get to a bowl game, whatever it may be. But ultimately, the decision to fight to extend our time holistically, obviously this season, in life, in our families, the whole deal is what our guys have chosen to do, and that's what we're going to do.
Coach, a couple quick ones on personnel. With Owens, you ever seen a guy with a group hug tackle 2 players before? If you'll address that. Also, analyze how you thought Cole played after you saw the film now so far.
Yeah, no, you don't see that very often, but, his rule is to tackle the mesh, and he literally tackled the mesh. And I thought, you watch, when you go back and look at the film, he played his tail off, and I hope, I really do, I hope the fans appreciate guys like Owen Porter, because I've been doing this 20-plus years, and there's not many like him. Could he be faster, taller, all these things? Could we have won more games? Yeah, but the passion and energy that he goes out there with playing for Marshall is something to be admired, and I hope the fans truly appreciate. The guy 3 weeks ago, he got surgery on his finger, and the doctors wanted him to, hey, we're going to see. We don't know if you can go. He said, no, I'm going. And he busted his tail in rehab, and he busted his tail to get healthy, and he's out there with, a huge paper towel roll on his arm, and he's fighting his tail off for Marshall. I hope that people appreciate that. It's not, yeah, we should win. We want to win. I know winning is it. But a couple weeks ago, he made the statement about booing. That's why he made that statement, because there's guys on this team that are giving everything they got for Marshall. And then when you boo them, it's kind of like, well, wait a minute, and I know everybody doesn't do it. And a lot of times myself, and I told Owen this after, he made that statement, a lot of times the 5% overshadow the 90%, 95% that are actually cheering, and the 5%, the squeaky wheel, and I get it. And I told him, I said, there's still a lot of people out there that win, lose, draw, rain, shine are going to support Marshall, and then those are the people you're playing for. The 5%, I'm going to do everything I can to get them on board. And Coach Saban told me, if you want to make everybody happy, you should probably sell ice cream. And you probably still won't make the lactose intolerant people happy. So it's probably not a way to do that. But I told Owen, I said, that's my job to manage and help encourage the 5%. We got to play better. I got to get a better result on the field, so those 5%. And I said, you keep playing for the 95. And I think that's what you see out of him, week in and week out. I thought Cole did some really good things. When you go back and look at the film, there's a couple opportunities where O-line-wise, we got to block a little bit better. There's a couple opportunities where a combination of a little bit better blocking and then him stepping up, just realizing what's going to happen, we probably get a little different result. And then there's 2 plays in there where, he's diving for a fumble and probably changes the course of the game. So I thought he did some good things. I thought he improved from the first, game that he went out there against Coastal. I thought he had a little more confidence as the game went on. Not just, hey, I'm going to throw this ball here or wherever, but just coming off the sideline, having a little bit, stronger demeanor, having a little bit more communication between him and Clint. Again, I thought he managed situations as best as possible. The one that probably no one really thinks about is he got sacked on a play the week before. He kind of put the ball in jeopardy, and we ended up fumbling on the goal line. This time he put the ball away. Those are the progresses that when I say I see these guys making progress, those are the things that I'm talking about. Now, we don't want him sacked. Obviously, so we still got to improve on that. But those are the situations where young players have an opportunity to take a stride. I think he's done that.
I think Owen talked about it after last game, and you kind of mentioned the light at the end of the tunnel, not out of the storm yet. But does a win like that kind of reinforce, hey, the process is working, you're making improvements to get to where you want to be?
I think so. I think because, again, the biggest thing we didn't do is we didn't, hey, the sky is falling, let's change everything. Hey, we've lost 5 games, so let's practice different. Hey, we've lost 5 games, so let's come in the building different. And I think when the players see the consistency in your approach, and then they're able to get a reward or the result they want, they truly understand it. Hey, the process works if I work. there's things that we go back and look at. Hey, there's issues that we've had, but 9 times out of 10, the issues that show up on Saturday show up at some point in practice. So what we've got to do is we got to practice better. And practice is not just on the field. It's film study. It's taking care of your body. It's meeting with your coaches. It's meeting with your players, all of those things. And I think when you have a result like we had Saturday night, you can tie them back to we probably had one of our better weeks of practice. Now, I think I would probably be remiss without saying it. I think the emphasis on the game probably brought a little heightened awareness to, hey, we got to be locked in. I still deal with 18 to 22-year-olds. I try to get them locked in every week, but sometimes the logo on the helmet, sometimes the reason for the game matters. But I do think, you can tie it back to we had some good practices. Some things that happened in practice showed up in the game. So, yeah, I do believe that, anytime you get a chance to reinforce the process with the right result, it helps, especially after having a couple weeks of it not going the way we anticipated, if that makes sense.
A couple of things about South Alabama. Bradley, the quarterback, and then their defensive front seems to have pretty good numbers. Just talk about their defense, if you would. Yeah,
defensively, they're really good. They play odd front, and their backers will hit gaps fast. They do a really good job of sniffing the ball out. One of the things that I think they do a really good job of is getting off blocks, so they do a really good job of striking the block, finding the ball and getting off. They're not just kind of hold the gap and let the ball roll back to another guy. The backers, when they see it, they go. And then on the back end, they do a really good job of matching the patterns. There's not very many times where you have guys running wide open. So what happens is now you get a lot of contested balls where they're able to bat balls down. They've got some turnovers. I think, again, Coach Womack has done a really good job defensively of making sure the back end matches the front. And a lot of times some defenses, the back end doesn't always match the front. So if you can spit it through, there's usually a gap between where the safety fits. These guys fit down hard when it's run. There's not a lot of air in the zone, so there ain't a lot of – I told Rasheen it's going to be another NC State type of party. It ain't going to be just hibbity-ho down the sideline, just high knee stepping. We got to grind it out. Now there are yards out there to get, but you got to fight for them, and they do a really good job of fighting to keep those yards from being easy, if that makes sense. And then their quarterback is, he's a veteran guy. You can tell he fully understands the system and he's got the tools. There's very many times where he looks confused or doesn't know where to go with the ball. He gets to his first read, second read quickly, does a really good job. Sometimes when you get a quarterback, you can tell if it's pass or run based on his mannerisms. This guy does a really good job of making it all look the same. So now when you go play action, it all looks the same. So now the backer's got 2 jobs. I got to get down in here to fit the run, and I got to get back out of here to get to my zone. So it's going to challenge us scheme-wise because of not only the system but the players' comfort level with the system, if that makes sense.
Got time for one more if needed.
Coach, every 75 game has a moment where you kind of feel something special. Was it Harrison's return, or was it something else that kind of you caught that you felt it?
Somebody on the headsets, I don't know what it is because it sounds like command center control on our headsets when we're playing well because everybody's excited and yelling. Probably me most of the time. But I don't know if you know when the punt got down on the 1 and it just kind of, just like my golf shot, typically, I'm pretty good at coming through and getting, the face up and the ball rolls back near the hole. But it kind of just died right on the 1. And someone has said there's the luck of the 75, because we just haven't had that. Now, we've been backed up all year. I mean, we've probably got more backed up snaps this year than I've had in my whole career. But for the first time, we were able to get, the ball died right there. It wasn't, hey, the Gunners made a good play and batted it back. I mean, it kind of died right there. I went to look for John back where the punter should be, and he was down on the 1 celebrating. So, but someone said that's the luck of the 75, and that was kind of right at the point where we needed to kind of back them up. We were trying to take the air out of the ball offensively and, kind of eat the clock a little bit. And we felt like, our defense, if they had long field, we could hold them. And ball bounced right there at the 1, and they got to go 99 yards, which we ended up stopping them on 4th and 4. We score and go up 2 scores. Coach Helton and his ultimate wisdom. You know, he got in that situation where they let us score with the mindset of go down the field, score, get the onside kick. People ask me all the time, should Ali have took a neat points, man? When Marshall's got a chance to get points this year because they've been anemic. So we're going to take the points. But I felt at that time, going up 2 scores with the time left with no timeouts, you know, we would at least have a chance. The percentage of getting onside kicks backs are less than 1%. Now, we've been burnt before, but the percentage of it is really low. So we felt like, hey, go up 2 scores, they got to drive the field, score, and get the onside kick and score again. We felt our chances were pretty good. If it had been a little different situation, we probably would have, we call it tap out. You know, we probably would have had Ali take a knee on the one and, you know, and live with the clock situation. But where the clock was, we still would have had to run another probably 6 plays to get it down to where we needed it to. So, but that was probably the one moment in this game that I looked up and said, thanks, guys. Thanks. All right. Appreciate you guys. Hope you have a good week. Go Herd.